Mr. Fassbender, did you want to add something?
I indeed did. Thank you very much. I'm going to use a World Series analogy. I'm the closer of this I think, very intelligent and well-presented presentations today. And you need to know that I've had the opportunity to watch and also to read a fair amount of the testimony that's been made before this committee. So I come today not with a written presentation, with more research and all of those things. I'm a firm believer you leave the good work of research and all of the academia to those people. I'm here to talk to you from a community perspective about the issues that Len has talked about, but I'm going to put a human face on it if I can, and that human face is my community. I know that the solution to the drug problems in Canada won't be found in the halls of Parliament, in these august chambers, or in my City Hall. They actually will be found on the streets of the communities when we as communities work together to find solutions that deal with all the social issues and all of the mental health issues that relate to the drug issue. And so I think what happens very often when we're debating things like this bill, which in my view is a step in the right direction in terms of providing the kinds of consequences for what I see on my streets every day, that I think that we need to look at each of these in terms of what they contribute to the whole. We're all looking for the silver bullet to solve the drug problems in this country. And I don't think there is one single silver bullet to do that. But what I do know is that when we look at what is happening in the drug industry, and I use that word advisedly, the drug industry, because that's what it is, and that's what I see, we need to provide our police forces, our fire and protective services, the tools and the teeth to deal with that effectively in order to make a change in the pattern that we see in the province of British Columbia, and I believe right across this great country. I'm here today really to make another comment. If I can, I'm going to use another analogy. When you look at bills, I don't think there's a perfect bill that's ever been crafted, and you may disagree with me, but I think they all have challenges. And I'll leave it to the legal scholars and so on to look at the detail of bills. But what I do know that this bill does is it does make that correction that is necessary to deal with organized crime, to deal with the industry that it is, and the people who are not drug addicted, who are not in our communities homeless. I'm talking about the people who are using this industry to make a lot of money and are parasites in our community that are sucking the lifeblood out of our community in so many ways. Whether it is the safety of our police departments or our fire and rescue services, whether it is the safety of neighbors. 3 days ago, I visited a home in my community in a beautiful residential area that at 5 o'clock in the morning burst into flame. I visited that with my fire chief and we walked around. He took me around the back and he showed me in the basement that it was a marijuana grow-up. It wasn't a small one, it was a large one. And so I said to him, oh, there must have been some sort of an electrical problem and so on. He said, no. He said this house was attacked by another rival group who wanted to put this particular person out of business, so they came and they set the house on fire. They didn't even want the plants that were in the basement. They just wanted to eliminate not only the plants, but the structure and everything that was in it. Now, you cannot tell me that that has anything to do with the person that I see on my streets who's addicted to marijuana and is a user. It has everything to do with people who are out to eliminate each other, eliminate them in our communities so that they can take over the business. And I come from the private sector, and part of the world is you want to do the best you can to get rid of the competition. Well, you know what? This kind of getting rid of the competition has deadly consequences, not only for the people involved, but for the people who have to work in our communities and serve our communities to be able to deal with these issues. So Bill C-15, in my view, gives the tools. And if I can use the analogy I was referring to, I think that you are very much, and please understand this analogy in the positive context, you're like the captain of the Titanic. And if you would have known far enough in advance that you could make a slight course correction and you would have missed that iceberg, I suspect as the captain of that ship you would have done that. And that's what this is all about. This is a small course correction in my view, but a very important one to ensure that there are consequences for those individuals in our society who are using everything they can to take advantage of every part of our community, and that has to stop. I know, and I've heard many of them, and I've read them, the debates around this table. I just heard some of the other witnesses tonight. And I think what happens very often, honorable senators, is that we start looking at the whole drug issue when we're dealing with a bill that has a very specific and targeted purpose. And what we do is we put our focus on all of the other issues. And you need to know, as a municipal leader, we are going to be opening a facility in our community to help the homeless, the drug addicted, and all of those things. We're doing our part in our communities to invest in helping people who need help and who want help. But I will make this as a very clear statement that I've made in my own community. I will not take any umbrage when people say to me, you've got to do something to get rid of the problems in our community, and you have to be a part of the solution. And honorable senators, that's what I'm asking you to do, is to be a part of the solution. And I know you've had much more debate to come, and you may look at nuances in the bill, but I'm here today to say to you very simply, my community is affected by the drug industry, by the people who profit from that drug industry, by organized crime, by the people that I have gone to when they're laying dead on my streets because they're in a drug war and they're trying to eliminate each other. I see that, I feel it, my community does, and the citizens of my community are saying they're tired of the lack of action, the lack of fortitude to make changes that need to be made, imperfect as they might be. And I do want to compliment you on passing through the elimination of the 2-for-1 legislation. That was a positive step forward. And I think it's time we stop politicizing these issues, and I think it's time we bring them down to the streets of our community. And I'm telling you, we're willing to work with you. We want you to work with us. We want you to work with our police departments, with our fire and rescue services, and we want to challenge all of us to be a part of that solution. So I urge you to have the fortitude to pass this bill as another signal to all Canadians in every community across this country that you are leaders who've heard them and are willing to be a part of the solution. I know I and my council and my community and the city of Surrey and many other communities across this country are willing to be a part of that solution, and I think we've got to stop dragging our feet, we've got to get on with it, and we've got to move forward in a way that we do put consequences where consequences deserve to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we go to question period beginning with Senator Nolan, followed by Senators Baker, Wallace, and Angus. Senator Nolan.
Yes, Madam. Thank you. Good afternoon to the four of you. Thank you for accepting our invitation.